Hey everyone, it's Barbara Ann. Welcome back to my channel, Straight Out of Context. Copyright disclaimer. Under the Copyright Act of 1976, I am within my full legal right to share these following clips via video and audio. The following creators allow reshare, redistribution, and download of their content, and as always, I credit in the description box down below. Fair use, public domain, TikTok third-party license, and TikTok Live automatic third-party license for the use of commentary, reaction, teaching, news reporting, research, comment, and criticism. I am legally within my basic human, civil, and constitutional right to share under the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution my expressions, views, thoughts, opinions, feelings, and critiques. The First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution guarantees my freedom of religion, freedom to exercise of, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, free assembly, and the right to petition the government and air my grievances. The First Amendment does not cover lies that amount to defamation, slander, libel, harassment, stalking, cyberstalking, bullying, cyberbullying, threats, or any other verbal crimes. Credit to Renelle Smith. She did an amazing video. I highly suggest you go over to her channel, subscribe, and watch her video. I'm going to show you both her channel and her video on screen, and it is linked in the description box. Renelle is not only a personal favorite of mine, she's one of the first 3 people that I started following when I started making content myself.
The way that y'all take things black and white is never in between. There's so many layers to that live. There's so many layers of gray, like with any human being. There are nights when I have just been bullied all night long and I'm sitting here like, I'm so tired of y'all saying, oh, I never spoke. The entire time I was being bullied by you lunatics.
This is a personal pet peeve of mine. When somebody overgeneralizes, when they are talking about a specific few people and they want to say something back to them and they generalize everybody as you lunatics. Overgeneralizing and stereotyping people into one group is also a very strategic way of being able to call people names like lunatic, bully, without actually directly saying who you think is a lunatic and a bully. It is an indirect and third-party way to loophole actually directly calling somebody that. But even by way of insinuation and even stereotyping and overgeneralizing, you're still doing it. You're still saying that. One can only guess who she's talking about.
I never spoke on it. So because I decide to speak on it, I'm a victim. I'm being a victim. All the fuck well.
To say that you never spoke about it and then to go on to speak about it is speaking about it. Saying that I never spoke on it before all this time and now I'm deciding to do that. It's another tactic and wordplay for I'm not doing anything. I'm just defending myself. Kind of the same way Gypsy says that murder that she committed. Yeah, that was like so 10 plus years ago. When that is all she's known for and all she will ever be known for. She didn't get followers and infamy from anything else. She doesn't have to talk about it. Gypsy Rose Blanchard is the 24-year-old woman who killed her mother to run off with a boyfriend.
Usually it's a mother. And like I've went to the hospital all my life. And so, I'm surprised that nobody caught it at all.
Still ask the question, how do you kill your own mother? I mean, there's got to be a reason. You don't just, I'm gonna kill my mother because I want to be with a boyfriend.
Nobody wants to believe that something like this can happen. I think the initial reaction is that Gypsy's been lying to everybody.
Gypsy was and is still lying to everybody. Look at how many hundreds of lies she has been caught in. Munchausen syndrome by proxy was not caught because her mother did not have it.
Yeah, I'm y'all's victim. And y'all just don't want to accept that.
I noticed with a lot of these lives, there's always a lot of saying you, them, they, and just like clumping everybody together. Natasha Cooper did it the other day.
I don't regret a single time that I talked about your nasty teeth. Nope, I don't. I don't, because you condone the bullying that happens to me every single fucking day. So yeah, go brush your teeth. Because you're always talking shit.
For somebody who doesn't have perfect teeth, who has broken, missing, and crowned teeth, to talk about somebody else's teeth constantly is weird, because she did this with Nadatha before.
The only reason you want to know why, actually? I'm going to tell you, I don't care if y'all clip this and post it out there. You want to know why I decided not to fight back my bullies? You want to know why I've stopped, whether y'all want to notice it or not? This is why. because y'all will continue to bully me, and then what I say will be used against me and clipped and put out there, and y'all will continue this narrative that I'm some bully, even though my reaction is to your action.
Did you ever stop and consider that other people's reactions are reactions to things that you have said and done as well? I don't care who agrees with me or doesn't agree with me, but it doesn't make it okay on either side. Even if somebody is refuting the things that another is saying, it is not okay to go after somebody's family, their children, their parents, their siblings, their spouse. The fact that there has been so much retaliation back and forth, back and forth, back and forth for over a year is crazy. That in and of itself speaks to the lunacy of not only Gypsy's friends and supporters and stands, but people that are on the anti-Gypsy side as well. And then for anybody to play victim when you actively participate in it is even more lunatic. People have the right to contact and talk to whoever they want to talk to, but the shit that they're engaging in is a completely different level of insanity.
So I have to hold back fighting my bullies because y'all will just turn it around.
From my understanding, this whole thing is her fighting back.
So clip that shit. Dengue is a bully more than any of us, and she doxes people, and yes, I have all the receipts. Yep, we sure do. The fact that she went on Key's Live today and she was like, I might have said that, but I don't actually look up people. She literally is like, yeah, next we need to look up. What does the word next mean? Next we need to look up blah, blah, blah. Like, what do you mean next? That means you did something for it to be next. Up this person. Why would you say next if you didn't already do it? You are such a liar, just like you lied and went and said that Skip kicked me out of her live when she did not at all.
Okay, being kicked out of somebody's life or not is not a real world problem. This unsustainable digital and virtual world is not reality. The hardware, the software, the electricity, and the digital signal that is needed for all of this digital and virtual reality to exist, just to be finding yourself doing this bullshit and engaging in this kind of behavior. All over a convicted murderer. Let that crazy sink in for a moment. But what is real is the mental, physical, and emotional distress, anxiety, worry, depression that all of this shit causes on real people. I'm honestly shocked that there hasn't been more lawsuits pertaining to all of this, but there certainly has been hundreds of police reports, which in the future, if anything does happen to anybody, those police reports are admissible in the court of law. You know what they say, if you don't document it, then it didn't happen.
You lied on that girl, as you do with everyone. Denk is clearly not happy with her own life, and the fact that she's even in this conversation when she tried pulling that suicidal shit with so many people, she uses that to get people to not talk about her, even though she talks about people.
First of all, where is the evidence and the proof of that claim? Secondly, if anybody ever says that to you, you immediately need to contact their local community mental health and their mobile crisis unit. It is not normal for any person or child to make any kind of threats verbally or by insinuation to harm themselves or to harm others.
So she could talk about people, but then if someone talks about her, she's going to threaten to unalive herself. That way people will stop. That is minimizing the feelings of people that actually are having those feelings. That does.
And falsely allegating something like that is minimizing the reality of somebody verbalizing their real feelings. Isn't that their biggest gripe, is invalidating people's abuse? Well, instead of falsely allegating, how about you validate abuse occurred in the first place? Because it's more common for people to lie. Gypsy Rose Blanchard, Amber Heard, Jada Pinkett Smith, Meghan Markle, Sherry Papini, Blake Lively, Thalia Graves, Jessica Mann are all people that have falsely made allegations, criminal allegations, to harm somebody's reputation and life and career, and in the end have been proven to be liars for fame, attention, clout, and money.
When you do that as a weapon, you're using it as a weapon. I never once used this as a weapon. Me saying that was me being around. I said it could push you to that point. push it to that point. That's me being real. And I even admitted that, like, yeah, I bully people back. Because if y'all can laugh at my expense. Oh, yeah, and don't forget your anti-bully campaign that you announced. That was never anything. And also, someone labeled that video of Bree's bullying advocacy. When did I say, anti-bully advocate? I never said I was an anti-bully advocate. Just because Gypsy's an anti-bully, just because she wants to advocate for anti-bullying doesn't mean that I got to.
We know you wouldn't. The only thing you advocate for is for Gypsy Rose Blanchard, advocating for a convicted murderer. Okay, that's not as weird as the woman who advocated for Ted Bundy, having a whole entire daughter with him. Totally not as weird as advocating for Jeffrey Dahmer, John Wayne Gacy, Charles Manson, Richard Ramirez. I'll even do you one better. Susan Smith, Diane Downs, Taylor Schabusiness. Why don't you guys advocate for those ones? Because none of those people currently have 9.5 million followers on TikTok and a reality TV show.
Support Gypsy, but I've held back from being mean to the people who are mean to me every single day because y'all use it. Y'all use it against me.
So she's admitting that she holds back, that she truly is vicious, mean, vile, and that she doesn't show that side of herself because she knows people will use it. That's kind of crazy. If you have a certain issue with certain people, instead of saying y'all, why don't you just talk to that person?
When it's a reaction to your action.
See, exactly what I said. That is the excuse every time. That they are just defending themselves, that they are just reacting to somebody else. So it justifies, it condones, it reasons, it and if or buts away their behavior, words, actions, and choices themselves. Maybe ending that negative perpetual cycle that you guys have found yourself stuck in for almost a year and a half will only truly end when everybody just stops. Ignore it, block, and move on.
And I'm sick of Gypsy getting blamed for everything that she doesn't even do. And then y'all turn around and say, oh, Gypsy throwing you under the bus. No, she's not. You know, when she did that to Ryan, didn't do it. And I would have told Gypsy, I think you should do something else, not that. Shit, there's plenty of terrible things she could have said that would have made her not look bad, but him look bad. Like, there's many things. There's many things that she will never share that if she did, well, y'all wouldn't give a fuck, actually. But if y'all were normal human beings, y'all would give a fuck. And y'all would say, wow, Ryan did that. Ryan said that. But she didn't.
Ooh, Bree, you should tell us.
So yeah, I'm allowed to disagree, and she's allowed to disagree with me. Like, that's how normal friendships are. Just like a good friend would hold you accountable. She was holding the people who did that accountable, not herself, which she shouldn't.
So this is about Dank?
Just like when people go and, just like when somebody over here goes and does something and I get blamed for it, I make it known that I didn't do that because I don't have to be held accountable for something that someone over here does.
No, but what you just said is what you would do. You would hold your friends accountable. You would hold your associates and people that are on your live panel accountable. You would hold them accountable instead of encouraging and enabling that kind of behavior. Those kinds of words, actions, choices. But the only thing you're concerned about is yourself, not being held accountable for somebody else's actions, words, choices, and behaviors. The same damn way that Gypsy Rose Blanchard tries to distance herself from you, Bree, and your panel, your friends, your online activities, because she doesn't want it to come back on her. Instead of being a better version of yourself, not a worse version of yourself, and finding better friends. It's my own opinion that the unsustainable digital and virtual world of social media is not only incredibly toxic, it's incredibly damaging. Look at the psychological addiction people have to these social media websites. Being banned or demonetized so many times for violating and still coming back. That psychological addiction to a false reality is what's being studied currently. Not to mention the endless amounts of class action lawsuits against social media harm and video game harm to both children and adults. But the even crazier thing is that TikTok has explicit, strict guidelines on mass reporting other people that want to control and censor and ban other people and control and censor other people's thoughts, feelings, expressions, words, critiques, and their viewpoints because they don't align with your own. That's not only a basic human right violation, that is a civil and constitutional right infringement of the First Amendment. It's also a violation and an infringement to falsely accuse people of being cyberbullies. And that is exactly why they overgeneralize and they don't say names. They stereotype with y'all, them, they, like what you guys do, wanting you to falsely believe that anybody that opposes Gypsy Rose Blanchard's lies and her false narrative are all cyberbullies, that they're all lying, that they're all lunatics. Did it ever occur to you that you guys might be the ones that are wrong? Did you ever stop and consider that your viewpoint could be wrong, that your opinions and feelings could be wrong? No, of course not, because opinions and feelings are just like assholes and everybody has one.
But the fact that, oh yeah, this was the last thing they said, that bee needs to be committed. Seriously, they want to tell other people to go to therapy, but it just seems to escape their own minds to get help for themselves rather than making themselves lolcows, whatever, every damn day. Like, and this is what really pissed me off, because this is not true, and Keisha wanted me to come on her live. She's got me fucked up. She's not joking. She's choking back tears. Listen. So they can hear me choking back like, these people, y'all. And then here comes Keisha. Girl, I invited Bree to the panel. She didn't come. Sheena did, and she said she's fine, and it was just for attention. That's right. I was there. Sick. Yep, manipulating the internet. I know for a fact that Sheena didn't say I was doing that for attention. But this is why Sheena shouldn't have even had to speak for me. What Sheena said, from what I can understand, is that I didn't mean it like that. And if I would have said it, I would have said it a little bit differently. I would have said, no, I meant it because in that thing I say it can push people to that point.
I don't know what she is going on about, but you guys can listen to her microanalyze, overanalyze, nitpick, and get into the semantics of every little word for yourselves.
And I say, you know what? I would rather be on live doing this, bullying the people that bullied me back, than on live myself. Because, I wish a lot of, you know how many people have unalived themselves because of bullying? I wish they would have instead went and bullied that person.
This is a perfect example of the expression, when I say jump, you say how high. And this entire thing is completely in context, just with my commentary and my reaction. You heard what she said. She wishes everybody would bully back their bullies, because the last thing that TikTok needs is another 1.5 years of the Gypsy Rose Blanchard bullshit, a continuation of the negative perpetual cycle. Well, here you go. This is what's feeding it.
You're damn right I do. I wish any person who has ever unalived themselves because of bullying, I wish that instead of unaliving themselves, they would have went and bullied. So y'all saying that's wrong for me to say that too? You thinking those people should have done that?
Yeah.
That's why y'all should think out your full thought before you go and go live about it or make comments like that. Because, even though, no, I've never been sitting here contemplating whether, I should do this. But y'all don't know everything about me. The reason, who knows what I would have thought if I didn't live the life I've lived and have the experience that I have.
Gypsy said, 2 wrongs don't make a right.
Because like I said, because my papa did that, it saves me from myself. I know that those thoughts don't go that far because of him. I would never do that because of him.
And while, yes, I have a lot of empathy and compassion and sympathy for somebody who has suffered that kind of loss, the reality is 96% of all 8 billion people on planet Earth will suffer some kind of loss, grief, addiction, alcoholism, mental health issues, mental disability, mental illness, the loss of a loved one, the loss of a friend, domestic violence, sexual assault, abuse in the workplace, forced labor, trafficking. It is estimated 96% of all 8 billion people across 195 countries on planet Earth will have suffered at least one of those traumas at least once in their life. So if you don't have the same mental health issues that somebody else does, you can't say that their experiences aren't going to drive them to actually do it. Your experiences are not the same as somebody else's experiences. Move through life and motion through life, assuming that everybody you come across and meet has survived some kind of trauma or will. And no, your trauma or the trauma of Gypsy Rose Blanchard is not more important or worse than anybody else's. And that's not even considering the amount of people who are disabled as well. Suffering through physical disability, genetic disease, and cancer is a trauma in and of itself that nobody can understand unless you have actually suffered the same thing. And for a lot of adults, those traumas can be more than one and pile up on top of each other.
So yes, who's to say that if it weren't for that piece of me that lives inside of me and constantly reminding that, who's to say that this past year and a half wouldn't have been that hard for me? Because it probably would have. But because I have that instilled in me, and because I have the friends I have, and because I have been able to just make humor out of things, even myself, I even have sung, when y'all were all whining about yourself, I went and made up a song about me one day and sung it on live. Like I was freestyling. I didn't remember what made it up, but I was like making it up as I was going about me.
Yeah, good for you. What, you want a Grammy or an Oscar or something?
So yeah, when I find when I turn something and I gotta take something that is not easy to deal with and I make humor out of it, meaning even on my own self, because I would rather do that than be sitting at home crying and feeling sorry for myself.
No, you'd rather be at Ken's house over there feeling sorry for Gypsy, fake placating her false narrative and victimhood because it once afforded you 52,000 followers.
So y'all can try to twist that all y'all want. Y'all know that when y'all watch live, that's why y'all won't post the whole live. But don't worry, I will. I will find that live and I'll post it all so you can see actually what the real deal is. Because you know, one thing I talked about the other day that some people don't know about, because half of y'all weren't even around when this shit first started happening. So y'all going off of what people tell y'all.
And some of us have been here before October 12th of 2023, 2.5 months before Gypsy was ever released. Despite her getting out and having an overwhelming amount of support until they started seeing her own actions, words, choices, and behaviors, and the medical records were released proving how sick Gypsy truly was. I don't know about anybody else, but that's when I did my first video discussing why she's not even released yet she's got an entire series coming out. Why on October 12th of 2023, a trailer dropped for that, and she wasn't released until December 28th of 2023. In a secondary trailer, she says that Nick sexually assaults her. Yet I played the clip from his trial where she says, no, he didn't. That's when I knew that they were going to try and turn her into a celebrity. And I looked, and Gypsy already 2.5 months before she was released had an Instagram, a Facebook, and a TikTok already set up. Taking a look at all of the mainstream media that she partook in while she was incarcerated for 8.5 years, I already knew. But yeah, a lot of people talk about true crime cases. That's their right and their prerogative to do so. This is completely something different. And what's bonkers is she inserted herself into Gypsy's clout after being released, wormed her way into being friends with Christy Blanchard, placating them as a supporter before months later becoming, quote, buddies, unquote, with Gypsy Rose herself. I'm not going to say names, but deja vu, because somebody else tried doing that same thing, but Bree herself cock-blocked her from getting to Gypsy that close. Kind of weird that you would make that your identity.
It was in March. This happened in March. Go find a video or a clip where I'm bullying anyone in March, okay?
March, April, May, and June of 2024. Calling Kate Marie Peggy Leggy? Oh, you mean March of 2025. Yeah, because a whole year hasn't changed you. Just the worst version of yourself that you can possibly be. Oh, there's change. It's just a negative change.
You fucking won't. And I was on a live, and I had to get off the live, not off of it, but I stepped away, and I didn't even know you can mute your live. At the time, that's how new I was to this. And I went, and you could hear me crying in the background, and I come back, and it's because Nenah Nenah was on a live, and she sent as many people as she could to come over here, and she said, let's see who can make Bree cry first. I barely even knew Nenah at that time.
So are you admitting that right now today you personally know Nenah? Interesting. Very interesting. I don't know if that's just a slip of a word, but she said she barely knew Nenah at that time. Like, if you're not friends with her, then you certainly don't know her at all, even now.
That's how long this has been going on.
Well, good morning. For anybody that cares, today is June 24th, the day that I lost my leg 14 years ago. And I wake up to Bree's video and live about me, incapable of speaking on me. So every video I've ever made has been nothing more than defending myself. That's it. I've never made a video first. I've never talked about first. I have defended myself every single time. And now I'm not even going to bother defending myself because it's just continuing this vicious cycle that won't end if I do. So that live was filled with a bunch of lies. She lied in that video that she made, claiming that I haven't been a topic. There is a ton of people that could tell you I have. She's got 2 accounts. She's made multiple videos about me. She has talked about me in her live. She talked about me in her live with Christy the other day. She just will not stop. She sees I'm back. I reactivated. And it's like, oh, well, I haven't said enough yet. I got to keep this going. Even though I'm like, I'm done. You guys win. I'm done. Like, y'all win. Like, I don't even get why we're continuing this anymore. So it's just really kind of annoying to wake up to that. But I'm also just gonna ask my followers, it's just better if I don't know. I get you guys are, why you're sending it to me, but just don't send me anything anymore. I don't even want to know. Just let her say whatever about me. I really have to stop caring. I know I care, but I need to stop caring because this is not good for my mental health. It wouldn't be good for anybody's mental health. This is very wrong, and it's a cycle that really needs to end.
Have y'all watched the live that Kate Marie started messaging Bree and her groupies on? The fit Bree was throwing. Like, bitch, go get your cigarette, go get your chill pill, and sit the fuck down. Take a fucking breath. It's okay. It's okay. Okay? If I hear one more time, she hasn't had the opportunity to advocate. Does Gypsy have arms? Does she have legs? Does she have a platform with millions of followers? I thought so. Does she have her own voice? Does she have her own brain? Oh, I thought so. So please tell me how she's not able to advocate. Bullshit ass fucking excuse. And then whoever your friend on there that was like, can she heal? Can't she heal? From fucking what? Healing from? What the fuck is Gypsy healing from?
Certainly not her own lies, that's for sure.
Her spoiled ass fucking rotten ass childhood? The fuck? Can she heal? Can't she heal? Y'all are just so foul for expecting her to advocate. She'll do it when she's fucking ready. Then why the fuck is Gypsy going on every fucking platform and interview and podcast saying, oh, I'm an advocate. I'm an advocate. That's why people expect her to fucking do it, because she's saying it.
They're 2 sisters at war over their mom. This sister wants their mother freed from the prison where she is doing time for an unspeakable crime. But this sister feels very differently.
I don't want her out.
Ashley Smith was just 14 months old when her mother did something terrible to her. Minutes after this photo was taken, Ashley's mom removed the racks from this oven, set the dial to broil, and put little Ashley inside, head first. District Attorney Randall Houston.
During the time that she was in there, it was truly a torture chamber.
Ashley was rescued by her dad, who heard her screams. He pulled her out of the oven and rushed her to the hospital. 14 years later, Ashley still carries the scars from the burns on her arms and forehead.
I've had 38 surgeries. It was painful, but I got through it.
Ashley's mother, Melissa Wright, pleaded guilty to attempted murder and was sentenced to 25 years.
I do not hate her. I do not love her. I don't want to see her. I think that she's crazy. I cannot imagine any mother wanting to burn their child.
Ashley's big sister, Courtney, was 8 at the time and saw everything.
While I'm standing by the refrigerator,
She picked up Ashley and hugged her and told her that she loved her, and then just like everything was fine. And next thing you know, there goes Ashley in the oven door shut.
Courtney says their mom was mentally ill and suffering from the side effects of antidepressant medication. Voices in my head were telling me to put Ashley in the oven, the mother told police.
When my mama did this, she wasn't in her right mind.
Courtney, who now has a son and a year-old daughter of her own, says her mother has been treated for her mental problems in her 14 years in prison and deserves to be freed.
She's not a monster. She is a changed woman, and people need to realize that.
Both sisters appeared before the Alabama Parole Board.
She is on the right medication to help her with her mental illness. I feel like she has changed.
Then Ashley told how she felt.
I can't imagine anyone in as much pain as I was going through mentally and physically.
The board refused to grant parole. Courtney buried her face in her hands when she heard the decision. Once so close as children, the two sisters are now not speaking to each other.
So, fuck every last one of you. Y'all don't know fucking shit.
I personally, I couldn't do it myself. Felt like if I posted it myself, that he would have received a message that I'm trying to hurt him. I said, Victor, will you please come kill my mother for me? Because I can't do it myself.
Why did you have Bree post instead of you posting?
I personally, I couldn't do it myself. Felt like if I posted it myself, that he would have received a message that I'm trying to hurt him, and that's not what I was trying to do.
What's the message?
The message is that I in no way want to prevent the healing process, but I do not want to be with him either. And that's definite.
Talked you into killing your mother.
I did. I talked him into it.
Why didn't you kill your mother?
I didn't believe I could do it.
Could you explain what you mean by that?
I don't like blood. I don't like the sight of blood. Frankly, I'm too squeamish, so I just honestly didn't believe I could do it on my own.
So let's just take a moment and see the other side of this and see what is thought, felt, said. And I'll help you out. I'll read it. Now remember, Bree has gone through, says Bree back up, says Bree back up, Bree unfiltered, back up, and then Bree with the facts 2, Bree with the facts 3, now free Bree, or whatever other account she might have. But this says, over the past 6 months, I have seen this creator bully, harass, and say racist comments, have lives where the entire panel laughs at her edits that she has made about several creators. She has allowed people to make fun of race, disabilities, and mental health. When it was brought up, it was quickly dismissed and never addressed until she was called out. She has made several people cry when they were on panel by allowing her panel to gang up and attack them. She also used someone's mental distress as a way to gain more followers by letting the meltdown play out while being on live. She will not allow anyone that has a difference of opinion to speak. She calls them names and then blocks them. It continues at the bottom, the things that have been said in the last 48 hours are a perfect example of who she is and the company that she keeps. Be a better human. This is a perfect and prime example of how somebody can discount other people's feelings, thoughts, opinions, and emotions, but then want the privilege and the luxury of everybody considering theirs. That's hypocrisy. Honestly, I don't know who half of these people are, but I do know one thing, that the back and forth has gone on for almost a year and a half. A lot of people haven't been here since before Gypsy had been released, covering her case, covering her release, covering her actions, words, choices, and behaviors since being released. There are also a lot of new people that have started covering the Gypsy Rose Blanchard case, and then there's just a lot of people that have regular accounts who interact with people on both sides.
I called her a black. I sure did. It wasn't racism. If I wanted to be racist, I would have referred to her as the N-word.
Like Dreamer calling another creator a black bitch instead of just calling her a bitch. The fact that you said the word black in front of it is racist. The N-word is derived from Spanish and Latin for the word black. It's a derogatory word that was used during slavery and not just U.S. slavery. The fact that your mind goes to saying black before the B word is certainly evidence of where her mind is at. And you can't sit there and say that you're not a racist by saying, oh, my best friend is black, or I have children that are mixed race because I had a husband or a boyfriend who is black. Yeah, you can certainly still be racist, and that is not an excuse. Having a black best friend or a black ex-husband or ex-boyfriend and having mixed kids doesn't make you less racist. It's the poorest excuse for, quote, I'm not racist, unquote, that I have ever heard.
I think you're a racist piece of shit. But if you are really decent and you care about humanity, then tell your house
you know
to
what?
stop
I don't even
some
care what
shit
you
that
gotta
they're doing on the
say.
internet.
Fuck you for saying that. No.
I still think you're a
the most
racist
important
piece of
people
shit, so fuck you.
Well, fucking black bitch, no. Fuck that shit. You're not gonna call me racist. There are people in the comments that knew what I was talking about, but you don't.
Even when you look Bree up, the only thing you find are a whole bunch of videos and evidence that she's a bully, going back as early as February of 2024. And Gypsy did say in her TV show that Bree became friends with Christy first, and then somehow socially climbed her way to her, and they became, quote, buddies, unquote. And what is the cost? Well, it's the fact that all of these people who associate with Gypsy are worse versions of themselves. They are worse for knowing her. And it comes at the price and the expense of everybody else for that one relationship with her. That in and of itself is the parasocial relationship that is very intriguing yet bizarre, considering the fact that Bree just said that she has bullied people many times herself, all to be friends with a convicted murderer. Think about that. Who in their right mind would want to know Gypsy Rose?
Someone needed to do what I did. Like, no one else was doing it. And so, no, Gypsy is so grateful that I have spoken out for her. I mean, it's just, I can ask the same thing, like, for all these other content creators that insert themselves into her life and they don't even know her in ways that they should not be inserting themselves at all, like very personal ways, you know, like announcing her baby's birth.
Doing what you did is you inserting yourself into Gypsy's life by social climbing to her through her stepmom. But actually, nobody announced Gypsy's birth except for Ken Erker himself when he posted this to Instagram. It even says right here when she gave it to People and TMZ that Ken Erker is the one who announced the birth.
Like that she's pregnant and stuff like that.
So did we all forget about when Ryan Anderson stated on season 1 of Gypsy's Trainwreck TV show that she had sent pictures to him of positive pregnancy test the month before she left, and that she also posted photos of a positive pregnancy test on her Instagram?
The same way I got it, Gypsy Rose Blanchard in May of 2024 accidentally uploaded a positive pregnancy test to her private Facebook stories and her Instagram stories. She later, in July of 2024, made a YouTube channel under Gypsy Rose Media and then announced her own pregnancy. So both of those things is a lie. And if any content creator got a hold of it, they got a hold of it from Gypsy or somebody close to her.
That to me is inserting yourself in someone's life.
It's giving Adaptive Kate when she did the Ray review. This is how I knew there was an inconsistency right away with the story, because she shows a picture that clearly says 2007 and tries to tell us all that she was 8 years old at that time. In 2007, she would have been 12. Adaptive Kate, for over 7 months, was very vocal herself about how she was bullied by Bree. Of course, she later became friends with Bree and with Gypsy, until Gypsy broke up with her and ended that friendship around November of 2024. She also did an entire interview with Sir Morbid X that you can still watch, where she's very vocal herself about the bullying she received by Bree. And Katie Joy Polson from Without a Crystal Ball. And even going back to February of 2024, all of the things that people that have been here this whole time have witnessed, it's always just a different day, a different person. It's a lot of back and forth, back and forth. It'll just be a different day, way, a different name, and a bunch of different bullshit. But the interesting part is that Gypsy Rose Blanchard herself is the common denominator. The same way she mentally, physically, and emotionally manipulated Nicholas Godejohn and Ryan Anderson into doing what she wanted them to do is what we are seeing play out with Bree also. And yeah, at one point it may have been worth it when she had 52,000 followers, but losing a dozen accounts for violating, losing dozens of other really good humans as friends, defending Gypsy, a convicted murderer, to the point of harming others. I don't know if that's just who she really is, or if Gypsy truly has turned people around her into the worst versions of themselves, just by way of association. But that in and of itself is the clusterfuck and the cesspool that everybody keeps talking about. If Gypsy Rose wasn't out and wasn't on social media and wasn't vibing for attention and clicks and views, if she just went and lived a quiet, peaceful life like she said she wanted, then mark my words, guaranteed, none of this would have happened. And what's crazy is that this is all over a convicted murderer who took the life of her mother and knew good damn and well what she was doing, lied and perjured herself on the stand at Nick's trial, costing him life in prison for her crime, being her co-conspirator and her accessory to her crime, and inadvertently costing his mom to take her own life from the mental, physical, and emotional distress. Never mind the fact that Nicholas Godejohn has a younger half-brother, too, who also lost his mom. Can you just for a moment pause and imagine what it was like for her seeing Gypsy use mainstream media for all these documentaries, lying, throwing your son under the bus, knowing he has autism and mental disability, knowing that he was manipulated for almost 3 years into believing this girl loved him so much that this was the only way he could save her. The desperation, the hopelessness that must have cost her. Never mind the real, tangible damage that Gypsy Rose Blanchard has caused and continues to cause. Hiding behind anti-bullying when you have participated or initiated bullying is laughable, especially when your friend is a self-proclaimed anti-bullying advocate now. If you liked my video, please subscribe, like, turn on notifications, and share.